Joan, you ever play football? I know that you were on the cheerleading squad, so of course you wouldn't have played football, although there are some girls that do play football.
We played flag football.
So you played flag football.
Yeah.
All right. And Sam, did you play football?
Absolutely.
Look at him. Of course he did.
So, and I did play football. I was like, fourth string special teams. What do you mean you did? Yes, Joan, I did, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Anyway.
I would have put you at safety.
I was, okay, if we're going to do this.
Bench warmer.
I did special teams. Shut up, Joan. Are you really? We're 5:07. You're already starting in on me. So I actually, to be perfectly honest, I was a bench warmer. But I played special teams, and I was running back, and I was a terrible football player. As a matter of fact, how bad of a football player was I before I get to this story? I was so bad. And they tried me at wide receiver because I was really fast. Like, I was a 3-year letterman in track, right? So they thought, okay, well, he's fast, so he can play on the football team.
Typically doesn't work with people of your complexion.
So anyway, is that racist? I don't even know if was that a racist comment towards white people?
No, because the amount of African-American athletes that run track and are successful football stars proves my point.
Okay. Anyway, so how bad was I? They tried to put me at wide receiver. And I realized I didn't understand football at all. I understand it more now. I wrote the plays on my arm.
Oh, wow.
So
I have a hitch route.
And I still couldn't get it right. So, as a matter of fact, I remember one day I was supposed to run the route, and then I was supposed to turn right to catch the ball. I kept turning left. My coach was so mad at me. Mandis! I can still hear it. Mandis! You're supposed to turn right. And he physically took me and positioned my body the way that it was supposed to be.
Did he have to do this? If the L is on the left.
No, he didn't do any of that.
No. Did he do this?
You know what he did? I've told this story before. He got so mad at me. Coach Bailey. He got so mad at me one time that he took me, I'm wearing my helmet, he took my helmet, took me down by the face mask, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Grinds my face into the dirt. And then I had to run around Knucklehead Tree. It's a wonder I like football so much these days.
Do you want to guess where they had me on the field?
Where?
Linebacker and center.
Well, that makes sense because you are a much larger individual. So,
but I wanted to be a kicker.
Oh, I wanted to be a field goal kicker in the worst way.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a field goal kicker like you wouldn't believe. The problem was I couldn't kick.
My problem was I was 6'1", 230 at a little tiny private school where the average height was 5'10".
Well, it's 5 inches more than me, so, Anyway, real quick. So there is a story that has now gone viral, and we've got video for this. And so if you are watching on YouTube, I'm going to describe this. But this happened in Michigan. It is a high school game, junior varsity. And you've got a really large, I guess it's a lineman, who is being blocked by a far smaller, I guess it was an offensive player. And so they're blocking. You got to block the lineman and so forth. But anyway, so the bigger player, who is black.
Oh, I saw
black.
this. Yes.
And the only reason I bring this up is because everybody else does. Why are you bringing up the skin color? Because everybody else does. And so if I don't, people are going to say, why didn't you bring up the skin color, right? So but people are calling this to be a hate crime. Here's what happened. So Lakeshore versus Kalamazoo, this massive defensive lineman being blocked by a much smaller offensive lineman. The offensive lineman ends up down on the ground. The much smaller white kid. This big old fat A, massive defensive lineman.
He was giant.
Belly flops on the offensive lineman, the white kid, while he is down on the ground, defenseless. Just belly flops on him. And it was like a celebratory belly flop.
Well, he had tackled him, I guess. And he ended up on top of him, stood up, and then bam, back
So
down on him again.
It's looking like whatever team's wearing the maroon red jerseys, they're on offense. And so this guy was blocking. He pancakes the kid to the ground. That's clean. That's great football.
Yeah.
Then he gets up and belly flops, and that's just inexcusable when you're playing offensive line. You finish your block, and then you're done.
The kid got hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 spinal fractures.
Oh, my goodness.
His season is done. He is now recovering. And by the way, the other thing is, of course, the play was over. So the celebratory belly flop right on top of the other kid, his mom, of course, in the stands. And this is all on video.
Yeah.
So if you're listening on the radio, then you can go to my Twitter feed. It's on my Twitter feed at Dan Mandis Show. But if you're watching on YouTube or any of the other social media platforms, you can just see play is over. Big fat kid belly flops on the smaller kid. And it's pretty brutal. Here's the other thing. This bigger kid was allowed to finish the game.
Hey, what?
He was
He
allowed,
was allowed
to
to
finish
finish
the
the
game.
You didn't ejected for that?
He didn't even get penalized.
Oh, my goodness. Have we learned nothing from the day of Albert Hainsworth stomping on a player's face?
Now, I don't remember that.
Oof.
But here's what I would say is that, number one, this poor kid, the victim, in this case, the white kid, he can barely walk. The other player was allowed to finish the game, and the whole thing is horrifying. And so some people are saying that this kid, the big, fat, huge kid, needs to be charged with assault, and I agree. If this was done on a city street, this would be assault. This is not part of the game of football. So just because it happened on a football field doesn't mean that he shouldn't be charged with assault. This is not part of the game of football. This is not even close to. This is an egregious, and I mean an egregious, physical attack.
If anything, he should be suspended and ruled ineligible in whatever. What state did this happen in?
Michigan.
Yeah, the state of Michigan should ban him from playing football for the rest of his career.
They need to bring him up on charges. They need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he needs to be charged criminally for that. Absolutely, that should not be allowed. And if they let this kid walk, then the next kid's going to do the same thing.
Well, and I hate bringing this up all the time, but I believe that it is appropriate. If that was a white kid jumping on a smaller black kid, belly flopping on a smaller black kid, we all know what would happen.
I actually have a similar story about myself.
Okay.
In a JV game, I only played football 1 year, my senior year, and they only wanted me out there because I was big. And so I'm playing in a JV game to get the reps in, and we are playing another private school, and a little freshman running back comes busting up through the seam in the middle, and I'm playing linebacker. He was black, I'm white, and I wrapped him up by the backs of his knees and carried my momentum backwards and slammed him into the ground. And his mom gets up screaming, "My baby, my baby." And my parents are kind of tucking their tails and ducking their heads. It was a clean tackle. I'm sorry that I was a full-grown man and your son was a 14-year-old, but then she tried to make it about race.
Okay, so a couple things. Number one is that was during the play. The
Exactly.
play is going on.
Yeah.
And in this case, the play was
Over. He won the block. That would have been if he doesn't do anything, a coach is looking at that block going, "That was great."
right. But then he belly flops, and it's not even the field of play has gone down the field now. The ball is down the field.
I think it's
They're
in the end
literally-
zone at that point. I think they've already scored because the
Yeah,
end
it's
zone's
on
right
like the
there.
20-yard line, and everybody else is going towards the end zone. So why is this kid not being charged with assault? That's what I want to know. The school, is anything going on in traffic, Joan?
No, nothing.
So the school and the district have come out now, and they are saying, well, we have handled this responsibly, and this kid is being they won't say what they did to the kid. They won't say whether or not he has been suspended for life. They won't say if he, is only going to miss a couple of games. They're saying because he's a juvenile that they can't tell people what has happened. And so the mom of the little white kid, she's been all over the place saying that there needs to be some sort of ramifications for all of this. And nobody, because this kid's a juvenile, which I think they're hiding behind that, this big kid is a juvenile, and they're hiding whatever responsibility or culpability he is facing, because it's either too light, which I bet is too light, or because it's too harsh. And some people will say, oh, well, it wasn't too harsh. It was assault. But if they banned him for life from high school, which would be, his junior and senior year, because this was JV, maybe he's a fresh, whatever. But I don't think this kid should ever be allowed to play football again at the high school level. And that is at a minimum. That is at a minimum. I believe that he should, again, be charged with assault. And, people are screaming about maybe, and this is where the race part comes in. People are saying maybe he needs to be charged with a hate crime. But I don't know. I don't know if race had anything to do with it. Nobody does. Nobody knows what was in his mind. But I think that we all know that it seems to be open season on white folks.
The official statement is some of the most bland, copy paper looking. This is just nuts.
Copy and paste?
I mean, pretty much. The student's behavior has been addressed, and the student will receive consequences in accordance to the Kalamazoo. Stupid ads. I had it.
It's the Kalamazoo High School Sports Authority.
Yeah.
Is who it is.
It's just. Tell us what it is. Tell us what the code of conduct is if you're going to just allude to it randomly. That is not what I could find to understand in my mind. I've seen fights break out. I've seen players swing helmets at people.
Oh yeah,
and make contact with a player that wasn't wearing a helmet, and the worst they got was suspended for like the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and so they're going to try and say, well, he didn't mean to break his back and potentially ruin his athletic career. He didn't mean it.
Bull crap. Anytime you do, I'm a little fired up about this, and I don't really know why, but when you do that, when you blatantly, and you're a big fat A, and you're jumping on some little, smaller player, during the field of play, right? During the play, anything is up for anything. Because it's the play is going on. You put yourself as a football player, you put yourself in a position to get hurt. But when the play is over and this guy decides that he's going to jump on this kid, I don't care if he meant to do whatever. When you jump on somebody the way that he does, you mean to do damage. You mean to do harm. So he needs to be suspended for life. He does. And the fact that the Kalamazoo Sports Authority isn't telling us what consequences this kid is facing tells me that they were probably more than likely pretty darn weak. Maybe he's lost a game or two, yet this kid, the one that broke his back, I'd be willing to bet that his high school career is over.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not going to go back out onto the playing field and risk another injury.
Well, and depending on the vertebra, I don't care what position you play. When you do weight training, a big thing in football is squats and putting a rack weighing several hundred pounds on your back. And there are many a time where players that are super talented and have everything going for them, it's the training that injures them. So I don't know how a doctor is going to okay this without some kind of surgery that ensures by the time this kid's 40 that he'll be standing upright still.
1726, trying to trigger me this morning. The coach told him to block till the whistle, so he did just that. I think 1726 is being silly.
Yeah,
because
watch
clearly,
the tape, buddy.
Yeah, that's not a block. That is a belly flop on a defenseless player. Which is that a thing, by the way?
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder if that's a thing that these high school kids are doing now, and maybe in college. I don't know. I can't imagine they would do this kind of thing in college. But is this a thing that they're doing on football fields now? I don't know.
I mean, there is the dog pile effect if there's a fumble or something, or you're the line's pushing the running back across a line to gain or something. There is people. It is against the rules to leave the ground and jump on top of people because you will injure them. Overall, fumble's a little bit different because you're trying to get possession. But in this instance, I mean, I've seen egregious blocking. I've seen play after the whistle.
Right.
But I hate it. The kid made an excellent block, finished his guy to the ground. Mm-hmm. You're done. And you know what the sportsman thing to do is tweet your hand up and go, hey, man, good play.
Absolutely.
You won that one and your team scored. That's how you walk away from it.
Yep.
And that's where the coaching comes in because specifically with football, it's about life skills and building maturity.
I will say this. The mom says that players from that kid's team, the perpetrator in this case, the assaulter in this case, has reached out to the mom and said, we're sorry. This does not reflect our values as a team or my values as a player. So apparently the team itself, or at least some of the team members, I don't know about the coaches, they did come out and they did say that his behavior, this football player's, the belly flopper, that his behavior was abhorrent and that they did apologize. So, I'm dying of curiosity what this kid's ultimate punishment is going to be. And I hope that he never finds himself on the football field again. That's number one. And again, number two, I do believe that he ought to be charged with assault. Now, will he? Probably not, but he should be. He should be.
They have a whole code in the Michigan high school sports book on defensive players and targeting.
What does it say?
A major focus of the NFHS Football Rules Committee is to promote uniform enforcement of illegal contact on defensive players across the country. We urge all coaches and game officials to study the rules, watch and share video, and have discussions with one another about what constitutes legal and illegal contact.
There you go. Joan and Sam, have you seen the new Wall of Fame at the White House?
I have, and it's glorious.
So you got the video up?
Oh, yeah.
So basically, they've got all the, and this is, of course, President Trump's doing. You've got all the former presidents. I see, LBJ, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter. And as the video continues, Ronald Reagan, Bush, Clinton, keep going, H.W. Bush, Barack Obama, Trump in the first term, and then Joe Biden is represented as an auto pen.
Well, and then Trump's second picture, if you keep it going.
Trump's second picture is
his mugshot.
That's not his mugshot.
Is that not?
No.
No.
I don't think so. Right? So I just fact-checked Sam. You know what? When Sam's going to try to fact-check me. Maybe it is his mugshot. Maybe it. Oh, wait. We have his I don't think that's his mugshot. We've got his mugshot in here. It's way up there. Maybe it is his mugshot, Joan. I don't think it is. Anyway, whatever. But the better part of the story is that it was Joe Biden is represented as an auto pen. You know what's going to happen is that once Trump leaves office, and by the way, I'm going to get to Lindsey Graham in a second, but once Trump leaves office, the question is, okay, so are they going to keep all of these photographs up, or will they go ahead and take them all down? By the way, no doubt that they'll replace Joe Biden's auto pen photograph with a real picture.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that, do you think Trump, here's my question. Do you think Trump went through this whole thing of putting up all of these photos of past presidents so that he could simply put up a photograph of an auto pen for Joe Biden? Like, was that a long way to go for the president to just put up an auto pen of Joe Biden?
I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't put it past him either.
Isn't this the hallway that leads out to the new Rose Garden or the ballroom maybe?
Is that area that's like outside of the Oval Office where you always see, this is, I think, the same place, the famous photographs of JFK and RFK walking down. Remember that whole photograph?
Yeah.
So it's that area. And what do you think they'd put, if next guy that comes in, Lord help us, is a Democrat, what picture would they put up of Donald Trump? Because you know that they would do it.
Probably his South Park character.
The South Park thing?
Yeah. And so you are right. I'm partially right. Apparently, he had a new portrait done when he was inaugurated, and he intentionally tried to make it look like it was his mugshot, as everyone has reported on.
I think President Trump, now he does, remember, President Trump does have a portrait of his mugshot outside of the Oval Office, like right outside of the Oval Office. So the first thing that you see when you walk in is the mugshot. And I think that's great. I mean, I love that because that mugshot, and we all talked about it at the time, that mugshot is emblematic of everything Donald Trump is, right? Mm-hmm. He's persecuted. And so I love that he did that. I think it is funny, the Joe Biden and the auto pen. I mean, he probably could have had fun with some of the other presidents as well. But it's true. And Trump it seems to be, and he should be, hyper-focused on this Joe Biden auto pen story. Number one, because, and I don't know where we are on this, actually. Do you know, Joan? Maybe you know, Sam, but where are we at on the whole auto pen investigation? Like last time I heard, you had House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer. He was bringing in, the assistants of Joe Biden and the people that knew Joe Biden. And a lot of them are now saying very incriminating things. So I don't know where we are with all of the
House Oversight
pardons, because that's what they're trying to figure out is, okay, so are these pardons really legitimate? And that story fell off my radar. So I don't know if they can go after Fauci yet or not. But it seems like if this thing was auto-penned, and almost every person who has been involved in that story will tell you that Biden wasn't even involved. Biden had no idea who he was pardoning. And matter of fact, if I remember right, Joe Biden's, I think it was his chief of staff. His chief of staff was the one that was approving all of these pardons. And then they sent it through the auto pen. Biden probably was sleeping at the time. So I think that it should be open season on somebody like Anthony Fauci. And all of these pardons, I think, are illegitimate. And whoever, Trump and the next president after that, if it's a Republican, they can go after Fauci and some of these other folks if they so choose.
So James Comer, House Oversight, is leading the investigation on the House side. But, we really haven't heard anything recently. It has kind of dropped off the radar.
It dropped off the radar.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Because, this is typical, though.
Yeah.
This is typical James Comer, House Oversight Committee. I got so angry when they were going through the whole, we're not going after Hunter Biden. We're going after Joe Biden, right? He lists all these stupid things. Nothing ever came of it. Nothing ever came of it. And so oftentimes there's a lot of, this is why I've kind of, I don't know, I've fallen off the whole track of, following the committee hearings and all that kind of stuff, because there is just a lot of bloviating, but nothing ever really happens. And, I did a whole monologue on that a while ago, and a lot of people reached out on the super text line and agreed with me, where it's just like, it's just a bunch of hot air, man. It's just a bunch of hot air. If you've got the goods, if you've got the goods, then let the Republicans know and go after Anthony Fauci. If you've got the goods, and I believe that they do have the goods on Joe Biden and the auto pen scandal. You've had people from his own administration coming out and talking about this, and not to mention, of course, the Wall Street Journal articles and, some of the other exposés that have been out there regarding Joe Biden and his lack of cognitive abilities. So, anyway.
And Joe Biden said, I made every decision.
I will not be pardoning Hunter. And I think Hunter is one of the very few that's his actual hand.
That was actually,
signature.
Right at the end. I mean, it was the final hours of Joe Biden's presidency, and he pardoned a bunch of family members, including Hunter Biden, and the left lost their ever-loving minds. So, but I think it is appropriate. And by the way, it's kind of funny, actually, because if I were Joe Biden and I'm air quoting, made all those decisions, I would try to make it seem like I didn't have anything to do with those decisions because his decisions sucked.
He had over 4,000 pardons and commutations, more than any prior president.
That's right. I remember that. So
nuts.
I want to replay. Did you hear J.D. Vance yesterday? Holy smokes.
Yeah.
He obliterated Gavin Newsom. This is going to be, I'm going to play some audio from Gavin Newsom, and then I'm going to play the response. Hey, is my video up? Joan, are you looking at my video?
I will right now.
The video paused.
Yeah.
And I'm going to describe this for radio folks. So I pulled up the video, and it paused with a really angry-looking Gavin Newsom. He's got steam coming out of his ears. I always actually kind of have fun with what I call pause face, where if you are watching TV and you pause it, you catch whoever's on the screen in some sort of a weird face.
Yeah.
That is angry Gavin Newsom pause face. But this is what Gavin Newsom said. This is an expansion of the video that I played for you yesterday. I love that he went down the road of you can go straight to hell. I love that.
I can't wait for a Vance Newsom debate.
Oh, can you imagine?
I can imagine if ABC, CBS, MSNBC, or CNN doesn't moderate it and run cover for Gavin, I could imagine it would be the most brutal verbal assault witnessed on an American stage.
And I think J.D. Vance would win in
hands
that.
down.
Now, I will say that
He could do it blindfolded with his hands tied behind his back.
I would say, though, that Newsom does a really good job of lying.
Yeah.
Like, Joan, you and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
Where Newsom, he's got the hair, he's got the smile, he's very eloquent in his lies.
He's a master
slimy.
obfuscator.
Yeah, when Sean Hannity moderated that discussion between Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis, DeSantis clearly won that debate, but you had Gavin Newsom, and he was very effective in telling his side of the story. The problem is you went back and you looked at it, and he was completely, as you said, Sam, obfuscating the truth about California. So I love that J.D. Vance is so eloquent that he would be able to take on Gavin Newsom. I think if there is a debate, and some of you folks are going to get mad at me, but I think if there is a debate between Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump, I think that, I'm just going to say it this way, J.D. Vance is going to be a lot more effective than Donald Trump. And I love Donald Trump, but Trump is what he is. And he's not always the best at talking about his successes in detail. J.D. Vance is able to do that, and he's able to do it concisely.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I've been cutting up Donald Trump audio for like 8 years now. What drives me nuts about Trump, and I've said this before, I love the man. I voted for the man many times. I am one of his biggest defenders. But when he does the whole weave thing that he's so proud of, where he just repeats the same thing over and over again, and he said, it's the best ever. Well, okay, give us some detail. Give us some detail. Defend your positions. J.D. Vance is really eloquent. He's really good at that. And as you said, Sam, and I know that Joan agrees, that will be a blockbuster of a debate.
Hang on. Did you see J.D. Vance call someone a dip-ished yesterday?
No.
Are you saying a dipsh?
Yes.
No. Did he really?
Yes.
Where? When?
On
I can't run it.
Twitter.
I can't run it unless it's bleeped.
Right. No,
So-
it's not. It's not audio. It was on Twitter. So J.D. Vance had posted this: the obsessive attack on law enforcement, particularly ICE, must stop. I'm praying for everyone hurt in this attack and for their families. Okay.
Yep.
John Favreau, is
Yep,
it? Yeah. So from
the Disney guy, Star Wars.
yeah, and he's what podcast him.
No. John Favreau, the podcaster, is not the same guy
Right. Exactly.
is a producer.
So the podcaster, he took that and he wrote, the vice president is not a reliable source of information. This is now the fifth or sixth time that he's posted a political take contradicted by facts from his own law enforcement agencies. And J.D. Vance posted right back to him and said, the gunman had anti-ICE messaging carved on the bullets that he used.
Yes.
What precisely did I get wrong? Dip-ished.
That's a nasty one. That's nasty.
I love that.
So then
Well
John Favreau changed his, you know how you have your name on your Twitter account?
Yeah.
And he put John Favreau, and then underneath it says, for the description, it just says dip-ished.
Well, listen, for once, John Favreau is telling the truth.
Yeah. He was one of Obama's speechwriters, right?
He was John Favreau was an Obama speechwriter.
Yeah.
And he was, now he's a
Pod
a
Save
big old
America.
Pod Save America,
Yeah.
a bunch of Democrats in there. And